Tokugawa's grand ambitions crumble around him. Allying with you was a grave mistake. An army is only as strong as its weakest ally, meaning you. This defeat is on your head. Our victory was never in doubt. You should be thankful Tokugawa included you in his glory. This battle is won. Now let us discuss how you can repay Tokugawa for his allegiance. You must invest in the machinery of war. Bring siege weapons to the gates of our enemy. Siege forces would help you sow the seeds of destruction. Take my advice. The pounding of hooves would lift your spirits in battle. We do not breed horses for their grace and posture. We breed them to trample our enemies. You are playing games. Train more foot soldiers, overwhelm the enemy, and cease this spectacle. Train more foot soldiers and hurl them at the enemy. They mean nothing. Mistakes like this are why you need Tokugawa. Your men march right into their graves. With this attack, you show weakness and stupidity. Remove your men, or they will meet their deaths. The heavens cloud with arrows and smoke. This day of battle will never be forgotten. The future of Japan will be decided in this bloody mud. Stand your ground and fight! I foresaw this victory, as I do all of them. Tokugawa does not know the meaning of defeat. Tokugawa has lived to see another day. So is the law of survival. The outcome was never in doubt. Tokugawa's vision always becomes the reality. Consider this victory further evidence of Tokugawa's superiority. You may follow Tokugawa on the road to victory, but remember your place. Are you willing to make sacrifices to achieve victory? If not, it is you who will be the sacrifice. So, you are good for something after all. Tokugawa never would have guessed. Your warriors are useful as a distraction. Do not let them get in my way. The enemy has friends. It is strange they do not side with Tokugawa. This fight has leapt from Tokugawa's grasp. Other forces are at play. If Tokugawa must. Yes, but only because it is in Tokugawa's best interest. Tokugawa shall spare some of his finest artillery. This artillery is Tokugawa's finest. Use it wisely. You will have riders if you so desire them. Listen for hoofbeats. Tokugawa has sent horses to you, against his better judgment. Men are like blades of grass. Where one falls, another takes its place. You shall have your warriors. Yes, perhaps your men will finally learn to fight from Tokugawa's warriors. Let me offer this advice. Greedy hands often lose their fingers. Why do you think a treasure is guarded? Waste your own resources. I am sorry, but our allegiance only goes so far. Tokugawa will not be party to your mistakes. Can you not build your own army? Tokugawa has no men to spare. My warriors fight for one road only. Tokugawa! You ask the impossible. Only a fool will make such a request. Our forces are too few. Your weakness, as always, is your problem. Is your army the concern of Tokugawa? I think not. It seems we have misjudged our opponents. Or perhaps I have chosen the wrong allies. Your lack of judgment has cost us a victory. Perhaps you should review your strategy. Tokugawa knows little about these Aztecs, only that they are not fit to stand before him. The British sustain a barbaric culture. Their demise was expected. Tokugawa never understood the Dutch's bravado. They bleed as easily as anyone else. The French army will fertilize these lands for many years to come. As corpses. What is that stench? Of course. It is the smell of a bloody German army. The Iroquois may lord over their homeland, but this is Tokugawa's domain. The Ottomans believed they could stand against the might of Tokugawa. They assumed incorrectly. The Portuguese have fallen before Tokugawa, as so many have before them. Tokugawa has heard many stories of Russian might. It is a pity they were only stories. The Sioux fight ferociously, but do so too late to matter. The Spanish put up a pitiful fight. They will be nursing their wounds for generations. I expected more from the Chinese, yet here stands Tokugawa unchallenged. The screams of the Indians will fill Tokugawa's ears for many nights. These traitorous Japanese could not stand up to the will of the shogun. They will suffer an eternity's torment. The Aztecs show surprising power, but it matters little when they are bleeding to death. I fear the British warriors. Their Western savagery suggests madness. Do not underestimate the Dutch soldiers. Their blank expressions hide a bloodthirsty brutality. If any Europeans are to be feared, it is the French. They have an imperialist's eye. These Germans will slog through blood and mud to destroy us. Kill first, fear later. Tokugawa has respect for these Iroquois. They fight as if moved by the spirits. The Ottomans seem to survive on the blood of their enemies. They should be respected and feared. The might of the Portuguese rises like a blood-red sun, casting a deathly shadow. With every step the Russians take, the earth shudders. They are more powerful than expected. Like a growing storm, the Sioux armies approach. Their numbers are like the stars. Tokugawa detests the Spanish warlords. For once, an army is actually worthy of his attention. Chinese warriors fight like devils. They will always advance, even as their entrails fall behind them. The Indians have a long history of triumph. We must proceed with caution. Tokugawa once called these traitorous Japanese his allies. They are men of great skill and greater treachery. Do not turn our alliance into a competition. Remember, you serve Tokugawa. Your advances will greatly aid my army. That is the reason you pursue them. Is it not? The enemy enlists the aid of natives. Beware! They hope to turn the whole region against us. Natives flock to our enemy. They must sense a weakness in our alliance, meaning you. Farmers will not win this war for Tokugawa. Advance quickly, or you will perish. Tokugawa's samurai will not fight alongside farmers. Why have you not advanced? Cease hiding in your headquarters, and join the battle at hand. The world advances without you. Your ignorance is appalling. Tokugawa has chosen you as his ally. Advance! Excellent. Your advanced civilization will greatly aid Tokugawa in his dominance. Your people are not as backwards as they appear. This advancement is good news. At last. You are even more ignorant than expected. Tokugawa is ashamed to have you as an ally. Your civilization advances at last. Your feeble people must still eat their rice uncooked. Many thanks for rescuing my monk. You have proven your usefulness to Tokugawa. You have done well. It is bad luck to abandon a holy man. Tokugawa has dismissed another threat. If only you were so effective. Fools. Our enemies were fools to believe they had conquered the conqueror. These native villages burn so brightly. It is beautiful. One more native enemy has fallen by the wayside. It is done. Tokugawa marches on, devastation and chaos in his wake. It is over. A town that once housed the living now houses the dead. Sever the ties to wealth, sever the ties to power. A trading post burns before Tokugawa. Follow Tokugawa's example, and tear the enemy's trade from this land. The natives fight ferociously. They will regret this resistance. It is ignorant not to accept the inevitable. Tokugawa will have that village yet. Destiny has not chosen this time for victory. Next time, perhaps. Tokugawa thought you were his ally. Where were your men during this disaster? The enemy's trade route is well defended. Our priorities shift elsewhere. For now, the enemy passionately defends its trade route. Now we know what he treasures most. Tokugawa does not worship, but the death of a believer is always cause for reflection. The death of a monk strikes a dual blow. We lose his blessing as well as his treasure. This is why beasts have no soul. They prey on the enlightened. My poor monk must have angered that beast in a former life. It grows clear that this battle is not in Tokugawa's interest. For it is not defeat when the fight is meaningless. Even the strongest commander grows weary of wasting his time. Is this battle finished yet? The blood of my clan is being spilled. Send your men before it is too late. Hurry! Tokugawa's men should not die when yours would be a much better substitute. The servants of Tokugawa scatter. Is this what an alliance means to you? Where are your men? My fiercest samurai have fallen in this onslaught. Ally, I come to you for help. Greetings. You must be the newest servant of Tokugawa. Tokugawa expects great things from you. Do not disappoint him. You choose a challenge. Tokugawa prefers an ally willing to face his fears. Only with Tokugawa's help will you ever overcome this deadly challenge. Tokugawa does not like an ally who sets his sights so low. You choose the simple path. War should inspire a warrior to surpass his expectations, not forget them. Yes, I remember you. I often dreamt of removing your head and placing it on a platter. Last we met, you resorted to deceit and trickery. Those are not the ways of the warrior. It is good that fate has brought us together again. You proved your worth when last we drew swords together. Your armies performed admirably during our last alliance. Tokugawa was almost impressed. Tokugawa thought he had buried your severed head in his garden. Strange, it must have been someone else's. Once again we face a common enemy. Try to keep up with Tokugawa this time. Do you remember this place? Last we gazed upon it, the sky was black with the smoke of a conquered enemy. Let us hope this engagement fares better than our last. Tokugawa expects great things from you, unlike last time. It is rare for Tokugawa to respect another commander, but you have earned it. Finally, Tokugawa has an ally in which to place some confidence, even if it is only a little. Ransom is fine, but Tokugawa prefers to make his deals on the battlefield. Tokugawa has paid for his monk's freedom. This will not be a regular occurrence. No amount of coin is worth more to me than a monk. Tokugawa has liberated a monk, both his body and his spirit. Today, our warriors have shown their faith. They have rescued a monk in need. String your bows and sharpen your blades. The enemy has shown us an undefended target. Only an inexperienced opponent would leave a headquarters undefended. It is time for an education. Interesting. A town center without a barracks in sight. Like a fruit ripe for the plucking. Even if the enemy wanted to muster their defenses, they have no barracks to do so. Fate sides with us. The enemy town center lies alone, with no horses to ride to its aid. Their headquarters lacks a stable to protect it. This is our time to strike. Allow Tokugawa to bless you with a shower of gold. I hope you use your coin more wisely than you use your warriors. All good things come from your benevolent master, Tokugawa. Your men look like skeletons. Take this food to nourish them. You may have your wood, but do not forget this favor. Wood is one resource Tokugawa can spare. Come. Tokugawa's men march on the enemy headquarters. This is no time for indecision. The time has come to strike. Prepare for battle. This is not a request. It is an order. The enemy's villagers do not expect an attack, which is exactly why one is coming. Tokugawa will crush the enemy's villagers like leaves under his foot. The armies of Tokugawa march on the enemy capital. Would you like to join him in his butchery? I begin my attack. The enemy does not expect such a blow, which is why it will be so enjoyable. A blood wind blows. Tokugawa prepares to clean the country of these traitorous natives. Natives who side with the enemy are certain to feel Tokugawa's wrath. We march! After this assault, the enemy's trading post will be but a scar upon the land. I am advancing on the enemy trade route. Keep an eye open for ambushes. To battle! Together our warriors will turn the tide against our enemies. Tokugawa's armies march to you. As a united force, we will trample the enemy into dust. This is a good place for a barracks. Tokugawa's engine of war will turn these skies grey. This spot will be remembered. Today, a dynasty breaks new ground. A ruler must have a castle. Tokugawa will build his here. With this town center, a dynasty dawns. This native settlement will belong to Tokugawa. The will of its people begs to be broken. All who do not bow down will burn. These natives have made the right choice. Tokugawa wishes to take a trade site. No one will stand in his way. It is important to keep our trade flowing. Capturing this trading post will surely help. A warrior does not leave his palaces undefended. Here we fight. The only way this building will be captured is over the smoking bodies of its garrison. You may turn and flee, but Tokugawa will never choose retreat. Learn from my example. True warriors fight to the death to defend their positions. This native settlement has become vital to our plans. It will be defended. This settlement will be defended. Tokugawa does not abandon his allies, unless, of course, they displease him. People must know that their master watches over them. That is why this village will be defended. Our men prepare their defenses. The enemy will swat this busy village and find it a beehive. Pay attention. This trade site must be defended. Your assistance may be required. Tokugawa would like to see the enemy tear this trade site from his grasp. Tokugawa will supply coin for as long as you require it. Spend this wealth wisely. The riches of Tokugawa are abundant. He will support your army even when you cannot. Your men will not starve with Tokugawa as a benefactor. Do not disappoint Tokugawa. Wood will flow only as long as you deserve it. The warriors of Tokugawa march to rescue their ally. And remember, favors are meant to be repaid. Tokugawa has too much invested in you. His men rally to your defense. No one ignores Tokugawa. Address your allies or lose them. How can allies plan when allies do not communicate? Open your mouth, or Tokugawa will open your belly. Tokugawa requires coin. Give it to him. Tokugawa has granted you many favors. It is time to return this goodwill with coin. Tokugawa's army requires food. You must accommodate, or face the consequences. You must spare some food. Tokugawa's men starve. They will eat anything. Our villages lie stagnant. A donation of wood would enable their growth. A gift of wood is needed to keep the fires of war burning. The clouds over this battle lift. Tokugawa expresses his thanks and gratitude. Thank you. But Tokugawa always had control over the situation. This coin is a welcome relief. This gift will not be forgotten. Your food saved Tokugawa's men from starvation. The food was a blessing. Men cannot fight with hollow bellies. Look around you. Our dead lie side by side. This defense will be forever celebrated. This battle could not have been won without your friendship. Perhaps I underestimated you. Tokugawa favors the loyal. He will not forget your generous donations. This act proves your worthiness to Tokugawa. Thank you. Wood is always welcome in a warrior's camp. Thank you. Archers without wood are like wolves without teeth. The Aztecs repel our forces. Who would have expected such resistance? Inspire your warriors, or the Aztec assault will surely swallow us. The British will claim victory if we do not adapt to their wiles. They are clever killers. Where do the British find such men? For they fight like demons. Tokugawa has never seen such a hunger for blood. The Dutch seem to feast on our dead. We fall before the Dutch tide, like crops to the harvest. How can this be? The French have their knives to Tokugawa's throat! Every French arrow finds its target. This nation is stronger than anticipated. Our blood coats the Germans' blades. We are being driven back at every turn. Every German warrior is worth 3 of our men. They do not know the meaning of defeat. In another life, Tokugawa would stand in awe of the Iroquois. For now, he retreats. The Iroquois warriors sink their claws into the countryside. They are predators by nature. Tokugawa fears few things, but he fears the Ottomans. They have given him good reason to. The Portuguese kill our men by the hundreds. They are a force of nature. This fight turns against us. Your strange fear of the Portuguese is costing us this war. These Russians know no fear. They shrug off every one of our blows. The Russian tide threatens our men. Their thirst for blood is unmatched. A mad fire drives the Sioux. We must be more careful, or we will lose this war. Every time our men march forward, the Sioux send them scrambling back. They are a mighty race. Tokugawa does not know how to stop the Spanish attack. They could march through hell unscathed. The Spanish are surprisingly skilled in combat. Our men must do more to resist them. The Chinese turn the knife in Tokugawa's side. Their lack of mercy is their strength. We are buried under the Chinese avalanche. If we do not act fast, we will suffocate. The Indians fight like Japanese, which is why Tokugawa finds them so difficult to defeat. Tokugawa will never kneel to the Indians, not even with a sword at his neck. We falter in the face of the traitorous Japanese. This day must not end in defeat. The traitorous Japanese win many victories, but defeat only strengthens Tokugawa's resolve. Our men may die, but the Aztecs cannot continue at this pace. We must stay alive a little longer. The British know how to fight, but with every push, they gasp and weaken. There is a right behind this darkness. In forcing the offensive, the Dutch leave themselves vulnerable. We are losing, but there is still hope. For every warrior the French slay, we kill 2 of theirs. The Germans win, but they also weaken. All is not lost. We must remain strong against this threat. Hope springs as our blood spills. The Iroquois have wasted their manpower. Defeat lingers in the shadows. But Tokugawa will never stop fighting. The Ottomans grow weary. The Portuguese rush over us, but quickly tire. Strike now, while they are out of breath. The Russians bruise us, but they are too weak for the kill. We will counterattack and finish them. The Sioux cannot keep up this crushing intensity. When their armies waver, we will show them the meaning of pain. Our men fall before the Spanish charge. Outlasting them is our only hope of survival. The Chinese have shown their strength, but even the strongest must rest. Our time for vengeance grows near. If we must die, then we will do so fighting. The Indians will fall around us in a flurry of blood and metal. The traitorous Japanese spill our blood, but we spill theirs as well. Soon, they will run dry. Tokugawa's strength has vanished, but yours remains. Rend him aid or face his fate. Know this. If Tokugawa falls, he will take you with him. Allies should combine their power, not hoard it. Do not worry. As long as Tokugawa can raise his sword, the outcome remains a mystery. The enemy does great damage, but only to the weak. Tokugawa fears nothing. We tower over our enemies, triumphant. Our enemies do not stand a chance against the fury of our alliance. We may dominate, but Tokugawa's weakness shows who has been making the sacrifices in this war. Even as this battle rages, you turn your lustful eyes to Tokugawa's dynasty. Power like yours is fleeting, my ally. Our success on the battlefield is a result of Tokugawa's prowess, nothing more. This battle is evidence of Tokugawa's supreme rule. Everyone, including you, will one day submit. Tokugawa fears for this alliance. Our soldiers' numbers dwindle. Their courage wanes. You must improve your strategy. Our alliance nears the point of no return. Tokugawa's might wavers. How has it come to this? Something must be done. These defeats go beyond humiliation. This may be the end of the Tokugawa dynasty. If so, the world will mourn. Under a dark cloud of death, a dynasty fades. Even Tokugawa cannot resist this dark destiny. Our enemy seeks to claim every inch of this land. We must destroy those choke points. They hope to stall our victory with tricks. This threat must be terminated quickly. Our enemy poisons the natives with promises of power. They will pay for this betrayal. The enemy hopes to win the land by winning the people. This cannot happen. The enemy's men scurry across the map like mice. They must not claim more territory. Tokugawa is shocked by the audacity of his enemies. You must do something. We must work faster. Our enemy befriends the natives at a surprising pace. Every time the enemy seizes a village, we become villains in the eyes of its people. The enemy grows roots all across the land. Act now, ally, or you will regret it. A warrior does not nap as the enemy marches over him. Open your eyes, fool, and fight. You toy with natives. They have little to offer but superstitions. You have formed a bond with natives. Tokugawa is pleased. He enjoys exploitation. An eye for trade is wise. Building an army requires the right resources. You have brought more lands under the banner of Tokugawa. Every inch counts. Well done. Such swiftness is an asset. Is your haste meant to intimidate Tokugawa? Be careful not to offend. Each contribution to the effort is appreciated. Your strategy does not go unrecognized. This land holds many treasures. Good fortune finds you. Now, yield some of it to Tokugawa. You find one more treasure for the chests of Tokugawa. You find food. Excellent. The stronger the servant, the stronger the master. This is good. Now Tokugawa knows where to go when his men beg for bread. Focus your efforts on the fight, not on your coffers. Treasure hunting is for fools. Tokugawa does not participate in childish races for treasure. A man does not pick his ally's pocket. If you value your hand, you will keep it on your own property. Be careful where you search for treasure. Allies can easily become enemies. You bring more warriors to the fold. Remind them who is the true master of this army. Tokugawa. These men are not samurai, but they will make nice fodder. Push them to the front. Villagers are like cattle. Every beast should be put to use. Villagers are good, but warriors are better. Leave some wood for Tokugawa. Are we not allies? You do plan to share that wood with Tokugawa, correct? Natives are useful. They have a great talent for stopping the arrows of the enemy. Wise move. Natives are the best resource of all, obedient and easily replaced. Thanks to your rapid advance, we command the map's trade route. Well done. It is wise to pursue trade sites. Tokugawa's doubts about you begin to fade, very slowly. Tokugawa will not take your walls personally, as long as his men still have access to your domain. Tokugawa sees your construction, but walls will not protect you from your own stupidity and lack of leadership. A native province yields to Tokugawa. These natives will act as our guides in this unknown land. This trade site appears deserted. Tokugawa shall claim it as his own. This is a helpful find. Every log, every coin, every loaf is appreciated. Our storehouses overflow with an abundance of treasures. Every coin we gather is a coin stolen from our enemy. With so many riches, Tokugawa hardly notices the new additions. The fire to kill requires fuel. This food will do nicely. Were you planning to gather those riches? Next time, you should move more quickly. Tokugawa will take this small treasure away from you for safekeeping. Tokugawa knows that this is not a contest, but still, his riches put yours to shame. Not only are your men weak, but they are also poor. Gather more treasures. I have found more warriors. There is no greater treasure than men willing to die for their master. These native warriors may be wild, but they are warriors nonetheless. Villagers are always welcome. There is always work to be done. Villagers are good for many things, all of them for the glory of Tokugawa. Every log gathered is another hair of arrows. Tokugawa does not take any blessing of wood for granted. Despite their bizarre rituals, every native on our side is an ally. Each trade site brings us closer to total dominance. We have snatched another trade site. Our eyes remain trained on victory. I shall build a wall to keep out the unwanted, like my enemies. And you. My walls are meant to keep out the enemy, so stay in my favor, or else. This victory has come about too easily, even for a righteous, wise, and all-powerful ruler like Tokugawa. The advantage is ours. Now we wait for our enemy to panic. Tokugawa enjoys when enemies panic. How could you possibly have become a worse ally than the last time we fought? It is pathetic. Not every warrior benefits from experience. It is obvious that some, like you, are cursed to fail. Tokugawa wonders how many heads had to roll to bring you such status. Many must have fallen at your feet. Tokugawa respects those who step to greatness on the backs of others. You have changed. A commander now stands before Tokugawa, when before there was only a whelp. You have been scarred by your experiences, but emerged stronger from them. Tokugawa will live on in the hearts of his people. There, you will never claim victory. This war is far from over. The sun always sets, only to rise again in the morning. Do not let sorrow overtake you. Your defeat is good news, for only death can cure a fool. Tell me, how does it feel to teeter on the brink of despair? The bloodier a battle, the better. There is no glory but that which is won in the mud. This battle should delight you. You will be remembered as a hero. A dead hero, but a hero nonetheless. Do not celebrate yet. Tokugawa has many more swords with which to slay you. Strange. You have won a battle. Never did Tokugawa consider such a possibility. This was the obvious outcome. It is a pity you had to waste so many men. Another easy battle. Tell me, what do you hope to accomplish by dying? Bow to Tokugawa now, and you may be spared. Do you not see the twilight of your empire? Strange. Tokugawa sees it quite clearly. Like trained beasts, the allies of Tokugawa arrive on command. You see, only the strong side with Tokugawa, so it is only natural that you and he are enemies. There is no honor when two armies descend upon one. It is the strategy of a feeble mind. With this, your ally assures his death. I will save space by using one grave for both of your bodies. Your advanced culture is impressive, but poetry and irrigation will not help you on the field of battle. You have advanced quickly. Nothing of value ever comes from rushing. That is why I will take my time when killing you. It will take more than a tribe of listless natives to challenge Tokugawa. Those natives must see you as a worthy leader. They see Tokugawa as a god. Such a soft bro. Surely you can do better. Lucky for Tokugawa, those natives were expendable. However, it is quite unlucky for them. You may have cut off the head, but the heart of my dynasty remains. The smoke of this defeat will not cloud Tokugawa's view of victory. Take it. Steering one trade site is like spearing one fish in a rushing river. If you seek to annoy Tokugawa, then you have succeeded. You will pay for this treachery. It would be wise to advance your civilization. Its crawl is becoming somewhat pathetic. Loggers and miners will not an army make. Advance, before Tokugawa grows bored with you. Your civilization advances slowly. You are well on your way to becoming a footnote in history. How can you rule such a stunted civilization? Tokugawa is surprised your people are not walking into walls. Your civilization betrays your priorities. To win a war, you must focus on fighting, not advancing. If you believe that advancements will bring you victory, you are mistaken. It is about time. We have all been waiting for you to join the civilized world. You are still advancing? Tokugawa assumed your primitive people had risen up and eaten you alive. Your ally is too far away to come to your aid. He can only watch the smoke as you burn. Tokugawa will drive a wedge between you and your allies. There is plenty of room for it. Never place your settlements too close together. You line them up for execution. Tokugawa appreciates that you have placed all of his targets in one convenient location. Remember, fool, Tokugawa is no village daimyo. He wields the power of the shogun. Once again, Tokugawa has seized the reins of fate. You cannot win. Let that be a lesson to you. Do not search for native allies in Tokugawa's lands. A fitting end to a worthless excuse for a village. Tokugawa has removed your eyesore from the beautiful horizon. Tokugawa has razed so many of your buildings that he has lost track. Remember the sting of this loss. There will be many more like it. Was that your trade site? Tokugawa torched it just for his own amusement. Greetings. Do you realize that no one has ever defeated Tokugawa? Or had you not heard? You must be Tokugawa's opponent. Strange. I expected someone with a spark of intelligence. The mark of a true warrior is whether he can rise to a challenge. Can you? You appear more confident in your abilities, but Tokugawa knows you, and such confidence is premature. A wise warrior learns from his past mistakes. Strange. Tokugawa never expected to think of you as wise. Is Tokugawa mistaken, or did you believe yourself more capable the last time we met? We both know these lands well, but it remains to be seen how you plan to use this knowledge. Tokugawa sees no future for you. His katana will be swift, and its judgment final. You should fear this confrontation. It will be painful for you. That is a fact. Your heart should hang heavy with shame. Violence toward a monk is dishonorable. Your scouting party walks through my lands. Is there any reason I should not slay them? Tokugawa hopes this rabble is not your army. Their weakness does you no favors. Your children appear to be lost. Tokugawa shows no mercy, not even to children. Wonderful! These moving targets will provide excellent practice for Tokugawa's archers. Insects should know better than to pester the powerful, lest they be squashed. Tokugawa lets you think that your scout goes unnoticed. Think again. Call back your army. Every man, woman, and child in my dynasty will fight to the death for the master. Only cowards prey on the innocent. You shall pay for your heartlessness. The larger your army, the longer the road paved with your dead. Do your warriors know that they march into the jaws of death? No? Then Tokugawa will deliver the message. Did the litter of mangy runts wander off, or is that a group of your warriors? Come closer. You are mere moments from entering Tokugawa's trap. So you have offered sacrifices to Tokugawa. He will be sure to return their heads to you. Strangers walk our streets. You will pay for this brash action with your life. Scavengers nibble at Tokugawa's realm. That is the only warning you will receive. Your warriors are lost. A general earns no honor in sending his men to meaningless deaths. Tokugawa has glimpsed your town center. This battle is as good as over. Your village is exposed to Tokugawa. One precise blow will end you. A predictable outcome. You should feel lucky to be alive. The righteous victor has emerged. Perhaps next time you will fare better. I hope you have not forgotten about Tokugawa. Prepare to be reminded. A shadow rolls across the horizon. A storm prepares to break. Tokugawa is coming! I detest silence. Would you mind howling with pain? Think of it as practice for what is to come. Do not allow the stillness to lull you. Much is happening. You are simply not aware of it. To your eyes, it appears that Tokugawa has fallen on defeat, but appearances can be deceiving. The battle worsens for Tokugawa. Care to become his ally? Name your price. Think about the future. This tactic was not part of Tokugawa's greater strategy. Your victory changes nothing. I hope these natives you seek are worth the trouble. Notice how Tokugawa shows them little interest. Your trade influence spreads quickly. But speed is a disadvantage when it moves you closer to doom. Your haste betrays your inexperience. Tokugawa values one prize only, your head. Tokugawa cares not for such treasures. They are of no help when a sword splits your skull. You snatch up treasures like a greedy child. You leave me no choice but to discipline you. Coin may be beautiful, but it will not keep your head from rolling free of your bloody shoulders. As you fill your face with food, Tokugawa keeps his eye focused on your annihilation. When Tokugawa finds you, all of that food will spill from your opened belly. Remember, the fatter you grow with treasure, the more difficult it will be to free the onslaught. Did Tokugawa hear something? It sounds like a fly buzzing outside his walls. If you plan to steal from Tokugawa, the least you can do is cut off your fingers. It will save him the trouble. Thank you for recruiting natives. They are easier to crush under Tokugawa's feet. Every man who joins you is one more corpse to decorate the battlefield. What good are villagers? Can they swing katanas? Can they ride horses? Wood burns, you fool. I would suggest you stay away from things that go up in smoke. So, you have chosen to wall your headquarters. Tokugawa knows when he is not wanted. Do not waste your time. No war will dam the coming flood. Tokugawa's influence expands across the countryside. The people crave a master. Tokugawa will unite the scattered peoples of this land against you. Tokugawa did not become shogun by ignoring the importance of trade. This trade site is the foundation on which Tokugawa will build a thriving economy. Do you see the wealth that awaits you? Now come and get it. Tokugawa will be waiting. The treasures of the wilderness are Tokugawa's for the taking. The glitter of coin will always bring Tokugawa great pleasure. Tokugawa will take this food so you do not have to. Your warriors are looking a little soft around the edges. Tokugawa consumes your crumbs, but grows hungry for the meal. Tokugawa's servants are weary from loading so many treasures. Strange, your men look surprisingly fit. Warriors continue to fall in behind Tokugawa's banner. Can you feel the thunder of their march? A new villager is a sign that a dynasty is growing. A pity it is not your dynasty. A wise commander knows better than to waste the gifts of nature. You have captured a native settlement. Remember, Haste does not make a man powerful. It only makes him sloppy. There are numerous trade sites to be had. One in many is but a snowflake in a storm. Tokugawa does not pay attention to time. His power is eternal. The countdown has started. Your remaining heartbeats are linked to the ticking of a clock. It appears you have suffered many defeats since our last meeting. What is one more? You have improved your reputation. It is surprising, considering you are such a clumsy commander. Your status impresses me, but all men, distinguished or not, bow before death. Additional experience means little when you have the strength of a child. It is agony to reach the sword, and Tokugawa's generals fall dead around him. A dynasty crumbles. This victory is especially sweet. I have learned an ally's weaknesses, which I may choose to exploit in the future. Thank you.